reunión, incluso cuando esté listo para hacer preguntas o comentarios. Gracias.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now we'll have Charles and Lou Jane and Esther, and they're going to bring you in.
Hello.
Thank you, Ayana.
Hello, everybody. You guys know me, your co-chair, Mr. Charles, and I want to thank you all for showing up today. Can we slide back to that agenda? There we go. So we're going to be introducing the agenda to you today. So, of course, we're doing our welcome part. Then today we have a treat for you guys. We will be introducing our hopefully new co-chair, Michaela. She'll be asking for you guys appreciation. And then we'll have our community profile for 35 minutes, which is a community-based activity. Then strategy roadmap, we'll do a deeper dive into that for 25 minutes. Of course, we'll have our break. Got to give you guys a chance to get some water, something to eat. Then we have our CERT community boundary vote for 25 minutes. Then our East Oakland Environmental Justice EJ announcements and updates for 10 minutes. And then it'll be next steps and the closeout after another successful meeting. So I'm about to pass it off.
Now, our initial meeting agreements are notes for participation. Remember, one mic, one voice. Use raise hand functions under the reactions at the bottom of your screen. Grace for ourselves and one another. Take care of yourself. Don't forget to stretch, drink water, and don't forget to breathe. Community building on Zoom. Use chat and the reaction emojis to inspire and encourage one another. For any questions throughout the meeting, please use the Zoom chat. CBE, BACMed, and your co-chair staff will be responding to your questions.
Thank you so much, Ayana. And thank you all again for being here tonight. And before I pass it off to Alicia, who's going to give a reminder about the CERP timeline, I just wanted to share a couple updates just about staff transitions and new staff. So unfortunately, Kita has transitioned from her role in CBE. I'm really going to miss her. She's really amazing person, and will still be around and involved in the process. But we just wanted to share that with you all. And then I also wanted to welcome Mausam, who joined the Just Cities team, and she's here tonight, and really excited to meet you all. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to her to introduce herself.
Thank you, Lujane. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Mausam. I have just joined Just Cities as the planning manager, and I will be taking over Gabby's role in facilitating the CSC meetings. Just a bit about me. I have a graduate degree in city planning from UC Berkeley. I started out as an architect, but over the past couple of years, I've been working on environmental justice projects in the East Bay, and I've also previously worked with the San Francisco Planning Department. Really excited to be here. Happy to be working with you all. Please reach out if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Mausam. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Alicia to go over the CERP timeline, just as a reminder for everyone.
Great, thanks, Lujane, and good evening, everyone. Again, my name's Alicia Shao. I am in the Air District's Air Quality Planning section. And just as a reminder, this is our timeline, and we've been presenting this at each of our steering committee meetings to check in on where we are in the process. So we are currently in summer of 2023, and tonight we'll be discussing the community profile, taking a deeper dive into the strategy roadmap, and providing an update and voting on the CERP community boundary. So I will pass it off to our next presenter.
Now we're going to get started with our youth co-chair position. So I would love to have Michaela come to the front and kind of give us a little information, a rundown on us. But first, I want to go ahead and present Lujane.
Thank you, Ayana. And so before I pass it off to Michaela to share her statement and to have a question and answer session with you all, I just wanted to go over the roles and responsibilities that the CSC approved earlier this year. And if we could advance to the next slide. I think it might be, yes, this one. So this slide just breaks down, as a reminder, the roles and responsibilities of the steering committee co-chairs. And so essentially the co-chairs provide CSC leadership and guidance along with CBE staff, and are representing the broader steering committee. This encompasses 1 to 2 orientation meetings with Air District, CBE staff, and Just Cities. And a big part of the co-chair's role is to help plan steering committee agendas, facilitate breakout sessions and discussions. And this ultimately entails about 5 hours of meetings per month, in addition to the steering committee meetings that we have once a month. And ultimately, the co-chairs are providing direction for the Air District and CBE. And initially in this process, we really wanted to have a youth co-chair and a space for youth in this process, and really grateful that Michaela is interested in running. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Michaela so you can get to know her, and she'll be sharing her statement and purpose of why she wants to run for the youth co-chair position.
Thanks, Lujane. Hi, everyone. My name is Michaela Patton. I use she, her, hers pronouns. Yeah, hopefully I saw most of you in the last few months at the meet and greet or just on Zoom. But yeah, I'm really excited to be applying or putting in my kind of nomination for the youth co-chair position. Environmental justice is a really big passion of mine, and I've been doing environmental justice work since I was 16, since I was a junior in high school. I'm 23 now, so it's kind of wild to think about that time and everything that's happened since then. But yeah, I graduated from college in 2021, and as soon as I went to college, I went out of state. I was like, I'm coming back home after graduation. I want to come back to Oakland. I want to come back to East Oakland and work here and do environmental justice work. And so that's what I've been doing since I graduated. I was working at CBE for a while as the youth organizer, and now I'm the director of another youth group in Oakland called the New Voices Are Rising program. So youth engagement is really big passion of mine in environmental justice, more specifically also. Because, you know, sometimes youth are left out of the table or left out of the conversations. Sometimes things are inaccessible. Even just like sitting on Zoom right now for 2 hours is not something like high schoolers are going to want to do. Come after school and like come here. You know, it's like we have to figure out ways to make it engaging for them and like put things in ways that they're encountering every day. So thinking about like how we can talk about air quality in like video games, or how we can talk about air quality and like an East Oakland neighborhood tour in like an animation style are things that I think like youth would be really, really interested in. But yeah, I've been doing environmental justice work, and I really remember a class from college that was called Suburban Politics, and it talked about redlining, and it talked more specifically about how suburbs were created in direct opposition to like cities, and when Black folks more specifically were coming to cities. And that class like changed my life, mainly because my mom and grandma would always talk about redlining. They just didn't have that name. But I always knew, right, like, you can't really go through the Caldecott Tunnel to Walnut Creek and Moraga at certain times because the vibe is different. Or even just like Alameda versus the Oakland Hills versus Berkeley, and just like the green spaces you can have there. I even remember my mom like always having to drive us to Berkeley just to go to like Tilden Park when I was younger and have like a regional park space because, you know, the MLK shoreline is like still being restored and it's still like a really beautiful space, but not always accessible to people. And so as I've gotten older, I've come to realize that all of these things, all of these barriers, all of these challenges that make it hard for us to go to the grocery store, for us to go to the park, for us to get clean water, it's all intentional. And sometimes when I was younger, I would be like, there's no way all this stuff could be for real, but like it is. And the government's planned it. And that type of like intentionality and planning is kind of like wild to see that they planned our neighborhood so intentionally, but also on the back end of that, it shows us and really tells me like how much planning community has to do so we can start to reverse those impacts, but then also actually create entirely new systems that like literally don't even exist right now for food, for water, for waste, for transportation that we create, that youth create, that we want to like grow into. And I think that's a really important piece of why I'm applying for the youth co-chair position also is to really uplift like ideas that maybe the Air District or us in this space aren't even really like thinking about right now when it comes to like air pollution and youth engagement and actual tangible solutions. And I think youth have a really, really big hand of that, especially with a lot of the new technologies and features and platforms that are coming out in ways to make things more accessible, but also ways to make things more fun and engaging that are also like informational. So yeah, I really want to be the youth co-chair because, well, one, I'm a youth. I've been involved in environmental justice, and I mean, I can say it hasn't been like, you know, the most engaging processes for like, you know, me being like in high school. And I really want to change that. You know, I want youth to come in and be like excited to come to AB 617, like make a poster and hang it in their schools. We can even do flyering like around East Oakland, like Canva. And there's so many different free tools now too that we can use to like help us do like graphic design work or animation work or even like digital drawing that I know a lot of youth are like really, really, really interested in. And I think also there's ways that we can kind of ensure youth have like a safe space for themselves also, creating things like subcommittees or like a youth leadership team or youth action council, you know, because sometimes it is like intimidating coming into spaces with like adults that are like 3 times your age, you know, like for high schoolers or even middle schoolers or elementary schoolers, you know, and that's just kind of like, obviously everybody here is super nice, but I'm sure we all remember what it was like being like 13 in front of like a whole bunch of adults, you know, like it's kind of scary. And so I think having like a separate space for youth where like we're in their space, we're at school, we're in clubs, we're outside, is also really, really important and completely changes the dynamic also of like their energy and, you know, just their presence in the space. So those are things that I really want to try to accomplish with the youth co-chair position. I think it's something that East Oakland really is prioritizing. I know no other CBE or sorry, East Oakland like 617 community or Bay Area community has really had like a intentional youth focus. And so I think that's really cool about East Oakland of making sure that every single group we know that's at a disadvantage, including those that are kind of like additional layers and intersectionality on top of that, are also getting like a seat at the table. So yeah, I hope to be out in schools, especially now that we're kind of learning how to navigate the pandemic, do flyering, get like some social media going. I'll say social media is a really, really big way to like spread campaigns, TikToks, Instagram. Yeah, I have like a lot of ideas that I'm looking forward to sharing, hopefully, whether it's as the co-chair or just like as we develop like subcommittees and working groups and stuff like that. So yeah. I think that concludes my statement. But yeah, still very down to like talk more, answer any questions or anything like that. So I guess I'll pass it back to Lou Jane
Thank you.
or Ayana. Yes, thank you.
Michaela, that was wonderful. I loved your speech. That was a beautiful approach to everything that you're trying to do as a youth co-chair. So we're gonna move this on, you guys. We're gonna go ahead and get ready for that roll call vote to bring Michaela in. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to Gabby. Gabby, go ahead. You know what to do.
Thank you, Ayana. Massam will share screen and we will go over the roll call. So I will call your name out and say yes, no, abstain. Or if you're absent, we will capture that too. So the question is, if we should vote Michaela into the youth co-chair position. So Ayana?
100%.
Great. Andrea might be absent.
I'm here.
Oh, perfect. Andrea?
Yes. It's a yes.
Okay, great. Andrea's absent. Okay. Carol?
100% yes. Welcome.
Okay. Charles?
Yes, for the first unanimous co-chair, yes.
Okay. Cynthia?
An enthusiastic yes.
Great. Danny?
Yes.
Okay. Gabrielle?
Absolutely yes.
Okay. Jamaica? Might not be here. Okay. Jamie?
Yes.
Okay. Jasmine?
Yes.
Okay. Marina?
Sí, bienvenida.
Okay. Great. Or sorry. America? America? Sorry, was that a yes or no or?
Can you hear me?
Yes, hi.
Hi, I said that is an absolute yes for me.
Okay. Mrs. Celia, we might, it's not here yet. Okay. Michaela?
Yes.
Okay. Jerry?
Yes.
Okay. Shamar?
Yes, but I'm going to put something in the chat. It's like an asterisk, but yes.
Okay, thank you. Susan? Susan, are you able to unmute?
Definitely yes.
Hey, and Sochi might not be here. Erica?
Yes.
Okay. So with 16 yeses, 4 absence, Michaela is our new youth co-chair. I'll pass it back to Ayana.
All right, we got a co-chair, you co-chair. Congratulations, Miss Patton. How do you feel?
Thank you. I'm super excited. I love engaging with the Air District, even though it's kind of surprising and doing these processes. So I'm excited to keep talking to some folks that we've been talking about, some conversations, some things that we're trying to plan. So yeah, I'm happy to work with you, Charles, and Ayana also.
Thank you, and we were looking forward. Go ahead, Charles, tell us.
Have fun working with us. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna get a lot of work done. Congratulations.
We're very proud of you. Congratulations. We got a youth co-chair, y'all. Let's keep it moving.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and get Alicia started.
Thanks, Ayana. Yes, to keep it moving. Yeah, first off, yes, definitely congratulations, Michaela. Welcome. Happy to have you as a co-chair. And to keep us moving, I am happy to present our next agenda topic for today, which is the community profile. So the community profile is a key element and a requirement for the SERP. It does provide a general summary of the community. It talks about where the community is located and its history, It also discusses important highlights of the community, like notable events and stories told from community perspectives. The element also looks at the information about people living and working in the community and provides an analysis of the overall population, socioeconomic, and health factors. It also includes a map showing the final served community boundary, and I'll be going over these components a bit more in the next few slides. The community profile is also important because it helps us to understand the community better. It does provide information that will be used to inform the technical assessment findings and develop strategies that are in line with our SERP vision and principles. So here are some of the major sections of the community profile. So we have here community location. This is a description of the physical and geographic context of the community of East Oakland. It describes where the community and each neighborhood are located in relation to major places and transportation sources. We also have the community history. This explains the history of the East Oakland community, including important events, how people settled here, businesses and industries, community traditions, the influence of different groups on community life. We can also consider community-led planning events, efforts like the East Oakland Neighborhood Initiative and the Healthy Development Guidelines. We can also consider city planning efforts like the Oakland General Plan Update, EJ, Environmental Justice Elements, and the Oakland Adopted Resolution that recognizes racism as a public health crisis. We also have land use and development, which is a description of how the land in East Oakland is being used and any development issues that should be taken into account. It gives an understanding of how the ways of land was used in the past, the policies that were in place, and how that influences any inequalities and unfairness that we see in present day. Next slide, please. So this section focuses on the highlights of the community, such as the things and people that make it a better place to live. These can include resources, services, places, and individuals that improve the overall quality of life in the community. We wanted to add community stories in this part where we can collect stories, quotes, and photographs that capture the experiences and perspectives of people living in the community. We can do this by conducting a select amount of interviewees and having conversations with these community members describing their lived experience in their own words. Next slide. So this section here we have is the community population. This is where it describes your community demographics, and this is information about people who live in the community. It can include details such as population size, average age or age distribution, race and ethnicity, income levels, poverty level, unemployment rates, education levels, and so on. We also have community health, and this describes the health conditions and provides information about the health problems and concerns that people in the community often face. And this also describes other health-related information and can include tools, descriptions such as Healthy Places Index and Calambiro Screen, which is methodologies that help identify communities that are disproportionately burdened and cumulatively affected by multiple sources of pollution. And so these are the major sections that that we have of the community profile, and wanted to pause here if folks have any questions before we move on to our community-based activity. So does anyone have any questions or comments?
I have a quick question.
Yeah, Cynthia, go ahead.
Thank you. I know you just said a lot and it's the evening and I don't know what we're all doing, maybe eating, maybe not. Could you just like maybe summarize in like one sentence, like what you just said and how it's connecting to our next activity?
Yeah, definitely. So I did also this did kind of come in email previously in the week along with our presentation slides just to help folks feel like they could wrap their head around this information because I know it can be a lot. But the community profile is a general profile of your community, what you see as the East Oakland community. So it's a general summary of the community. In one sentence, we have it entails the community location, history, highlights of the community, including community stories and perspectives and lived experience, and also provides an analysis of population, socioeconomic, and health factors. And we'll also show the final SERP community boundary, which I'll go over in one of our next agenda topics. I hope that clears it up. Okay, I'll hand it over to
Excuse
Charles.
me. Yes, Alicia, so are you saying we will be incorporating statistics like Black people in East Oakland have the highest rate of respiratory illnesses and diseases as opposed to all over the rest of Oakland? We have the highest rate of that. So those are the kind of statistics that we're going to be incorporating. And if we are, where we'll be getting those kinds of statistics for our CSC members to be able to have access to.
Yes, great question, Charles. So yes, where we can, we would like to describe health-related information categorized by place, race, or income whenever possible. We are coordinating with our partners at Alameda County Public Health for their health data. We're also collaborating with City of Oakland for some of their kind of place types of data as well. And some of the tools that I did mention, including Healthy Places Index and ColonVirusScreen, we are partnering with those databases, and those are typically public-facing information, but it does provide a lot of information that will really inform the community profile.
And one last thing, I noticed that you mentioned the Healthy Development Guidelines. Have our steering committee members have had access to that document or even know what it means? So would those kinds of studies be explained to people so they can understand that they started from East Oakland, were initiated by East Oakland, driven by East Oakland, and things of that nature? That's what I'm saying also.
Yeah, good questions all around. So our Air District website that's focused on this East Oakland SERP, we do have a section for plans and planning efforts that affect East Oakland, and they do have links to the Healthy Development Guidelines as well as the EONI planning effort. I do foresee that information being incorporated in the East Oakland SERP as well. And so yeah, that background will be available to the steering committee members as well. Okay, if no other questions, I can we can get back to the presentation. I can provide an overview of our next activity here to move us forward. So next slide. Great. So now we want to get your thoughts and ideas on the community profile. And so how we're going to do that is having a wonderful interactive activity. So this activity will be for both our steering committee members as well as public attendees. The steering committee members will be divided in pairs or three-person groups. So you'll get a chance to get to know each other a little bit better and discuss with each other regarding the community profile. Each of the pairs or the three-person groups will be asked to report back on what they've discussed when we come back to the larger group. So please select a volunteer who will share during the report back. Public attendees will also be in the breakout group and have the chance to contribute as well. So we'll have about 15 minutes to discuss some of the listed questions on the first page of the shared Jamboard. And we'll also provide that prompt by chat as well. You'll have about 2 to 3 minutes to discuss each of the questions and then just move on to the next. And then I will, let's see, I'm wondering if Carissa, if you could share the first page of the Jamboard just to show folks the list of questions. Fantastic, great. And so what we're going to do is you'll discuss in your small groups. And then when we have you report back, we're going to help note take on the Jamboard itself. So I will turn it over to Gabby, who's going to help us organize our breakout groups.
Okay.
Just a note, if folks, when you're in the your breakout group with your group, if you need any assistance, I think you should be able to send a Zoom chat to Gabby, right? And so if you need any assistance, please reach out to Gabby Sanchez, who's from Just Cities.
Tengo una pregunta, ¿dónde nos vamos a quedar? ¿Dónde me voy a quedar yo?
I have a question. Where am I going to be?
You can stay in the main room. You don't have to move. Okay. BACMed folks, I did send you an invite to join the public room, but it's up to you. And then we have in the main room, we have Marina, Miss Cecilia, and I thought there was someone else. Oh, yeah.
Gabby, would you be able to resend me that invite?
Sure.
Yeah, me too. I didn't know that there was a public room.
Okay, yeah.
Me too, please. Thank you.
Okay, so in the main room then, I think
I
it's,
didn't get it. I didn't get the
oh,
invitation.
Veronica, let me
Yeah.
see. Oh, I have to like get you. Push back in. Don't click that one. I'll put
Okay.
you in. Okay, now you should get a new one to room 5.
All right, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Miss Cecilia, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can hear you, Gabby. Mhm.
Okay, great. So we will make sure that we are okay, so maybe so you and Marina can talk about what are you most proud of in East Oakland? What would you like to see celebrated? And what are you most hopeful about in your community?
Well, I'm very proud of East Oakland. I'm proud that we do have a library, and that's very important to me. And we also have a senior center nearby. We have playgrounds for the kids. We have, parks and recreation for the children. We have our schools.
Great. Thank you for sharing, Miss Cecilia. How about you, Marina?
Sí. Pues yo también estoy orgullosa, ¿verdad?
I'm also proud, right? Because I'm originally from Mexico, and when I arrived in Oakland, it opened its doors to me, and I'm here, and that fills me with pride that we have so many libraries and several parks as well, with recreational centers, and it's a city where we have more help. For example, with like food and with the bank. So that's the pride that we should have, because if we need food, we can call the food bank and they will give us food. And other places they don't have that help.
Okay. So I'm not sure, Miss Cecilia, if you have the English interpretation on, so I'll just summarize that. Marina said that, she's originally from Mexico and she felt that Oakland really opened up the doors for her. And that she also liked that there were libraries and that you can go to the food bank, and that yeah, so she's also very proud of East Oakland. Is there anything else that community highlights or assets or resources that either of you would like to share?
Voy a decir, ¿verdad?
I'm going to say something. When it comes to resources, but I see that there are a lot of resources. The problem is that the people, we don't know how to access because we're not involved. And that's why, because we don't know where we can find these resources. So when one is involved and you're always going to the workshops, you realize that there is a lot of help, a lot of help here in East Oakland.
Y que tenemos una ayuda grande también.
And that we have a lot of help here in East Oakland for people, for us immigrants. And that's good help.
Okay, thank you, Marina. Yeah, Ms. Cecilia, I'm not sure if you heard, but Marina talked about how there's a large immigrant community in Oakland, and she feels like there are a lot of assets in the community. Is there anything you want to add?
Yes, I would like to say that we're very fortunate to have a police station right there close by us. And also we do have access to the fire department, which is very, very central. I'm trying to think of only thing I'm just, you know, concerned about is that Oakland really needs to have a pharmacy in that area, in this area, because we don't have one. We have to go out to St. Andrew. And the same way when it come down to, we do have a place we can buy material for.
Minutes for a report back, and would love to hear about what all of you talked about in your small breakout rooms. And so maybe we can do popcorn style, or if someone feels called to share what they talked about in their group, it would be great to hear about the first question, which is, what are you most proud of in East Oakland, and what would you like celebrated? So maybe we can spend a few minutes, and I'll pass it off to whoever would like to go first.
I can go first.
Thanks, Andrea.
Yeah, so I was in a group with Ayana, and we talked about how East Oakland is its own community and its own culture. We really like that we have our own rules and our own ways of living. It's really different from the rest of the Bay, and in a special way. And that's what we appreciate about East Oakland.
So great. Thank you, Andrea, for sharing. And I'll pass it off to Carol.
Yeah, you know, I couldn't hear what was going on. That's kind of weird. I think my interpretation's messed up. We actually talked about, well, we had a lot of good things to say. We love the sense of community. We love the fact that people are looking out for each other. We love just so much about how everyone within the community looks out for each other, is aware of, you know, what's going on, and, you know, even though there's a sense of danger, still, you know, feel protected and taken care of, looked out for.
That's really great. So a strong sense of community and taking care of each other. That's really great. Any other thoughts or ideas that anyone would like to share?
I just want to say that another thing with East Oakland, we do believe in sharing with each other, which is very important. Because we see that a family is in need of something, we believe in sharing, do we can to help them. And that's very important.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Ms. Cecilia.
Yes, and also what I love too is the fact that for the elderly people, we do have a means of getting around through paratransit, you know, and everyone else can also share, board the train, the buses. So we do have transportation in this area, which is great.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Having transportation and having that ease of mobility.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll go ahead and pass it off to Kalila and then Charles.
Hi, I was in a group with Susan and Bill, and so I would just, well, yeah, I'm just going to share what the three of us said. So we shared that we're proud that ABNI is gone, about the work of CB&E, the history of community engagement and environmental justice work, and the local community outreach and training groups that are helping people gain experience in employment, like Cypress, Mandela, and Men of Valor. Those are the three of the things we should.
Thank you. That's so great. Yeah, thank you for sharing, Kalila. And then I'll pass it off to Charles.
Yeah, I got into my room late. But the thing that stands out to me about Oakland is that we are different, and we're a resilient, spirited community. And you know, especially when you look at our Black and brown communities, man, we come from the dirt up. We build ourselves into something. And I just want to be able to reconnect with that sense of pride that we had when we had corridors full of Black businesses all up and down East 14th. And now we don't have, we have very little. So I would love to see that sense of community, economic sense of community be reborn in Oakland, because we innovators out here. We like she said, we play by our own rules, but we play to win. And that's to me, that's what the town is about.
Thank you, Charles. Unfortunately, we're running a little bit behind, and I see, Jamie, you have your hand up. We'd love to hear what you'd like to share. And also for those of you that would like to share, if you could please do that on the Jamboard, because we'll have to move forward in the meeting. But I'll go ahead and pass it to Alicia to go over just the next steps for the community profile.
Great, thank you, Lou Jane, and thanks everyone for all your engagement and ongoing support with the SERP and building out this community profile. So as for next steps, the co-chairs along with CBE and the Air District, we will work together to combine the ideas and suggestions from the steering committee as well as the public to create a SERP community profile. This will happen in the coming months as staff will collaborate with community to develop the community profile together. So I will pass it next to Kim to give us a deeper dive into the strategy roadmap. Thanks.
Thanks, Alicia, and good evening, everybody. It's wonderful to be here. I've seen some familiar faces and many new ones. My name is Kim Ryan. I'm a part-time staff researcher with CBE, and I've been working on. Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought someone thought maybe wasn't able to hear me. Okay. As I was saying, I've been working on the strategies focused approach, and today we're kind of shifting gears from what we were just talking about with the community profile to now, diving in a little bit deeper to how we're envisioning strategy development happening as a community informed process. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to ground us in an agenda for this next section, this presentation that I'll be sharing. First, I want to review goals of today's presentation, and then talk about the strategies focused approach. I know that this has been shared a little bit in the past, and I'll do a bit of a recap, but then we'll go into a bit more of a deep dive about the details where we can understand having the CSC be involved and really taking power in that. I think because we have about 25 minutes for the presentation and questions and discussion, so I'll do my best to keep the presentation just to about 20 minutes or less, and we can make space to hear any kinds of questions or feedback or discussion. Next slide, please. Thank you. So goals of today's presentation are really to particularly share out the goals of the strategies focused approach, kind of share a little bit about where that came from. But then really, I want to focus particularly on the three sources of information gathering that we're looking to in order to gather as much of a comprehensive understanding of community concerns and places of value within East Oakland that will help us feed into strategy development. We really want the strategies to, be addressing local issues that members here are thinking about and have been concerned about, as well as the greater East Oakland community. And then I will highlight as many times as I can engagement points for the steering committee where we're envisioning having you members being involved in this process. And then, as I said, as we get towards the end of the presentation, giving a chance for hearing any Q&A from the steering committee and any feedback. Next slide, please. So just moving into a recap of the strategies focused approach. This was a community, the idea is that this is a community informed approach. And as I mentioned, we're really aiming to collect information from several different inputs so that, or several different sources, so that we can really develop a comprehensive understanding of what the largest community concerns are. And the strategies focused approach is a bit unique compared to other AB 617 community approaches, in that it really aims to address longstanding local community issues, not just by using, developing long-term emissions reduction strategies, but also doing what we're calling early actions. Early actions I'll talk about more in the presentation, but I can share here that the idea was that these would give us an opportunity to address community concerns that maybe could be addressed in a short amount of time. Maybe it's illegal dumping during next to a sensitive receptor like a school or a daycare. And it's something that doesn't necessarily need to go through the whole SERP process. So I'll talk more about early actions later in a few slides. And then ultimately with the strategies focused approach, what we're really hoping to do is develop strong, actionable strategies with clear measurable targets. And the reason why I share this is because when reviewing feedback from other SERP communities and other air districts, some of the things that they shared were that in the end, some of the strategies, the language wasn't necessarily clear enough, or there wasn't maybe a measurable target that made it easy to understand if the strategy was actually being successful. So we're really aiming to have community-led strategy development with strategies in the end that are really measurable, so that we can make sure that the air district or other agencies are really, helping to make the changes that we want to see. Next slide, please. So to wrap up the recap here, I wanted to include a figure that was shown to the steering committee back in June. This is basically an outline of the strategies focused approach. So the strategies focused approach is really taking several steps in order to incorporate community concerns about pollution or areas that are valued by community members. It's aiming to gather as much information as it can, and then take these steps to either take early actions to address a concern or to develop strategy, here in these steering committee meetings. And so these are broken down into 5 steps here on the screen. The first one that I'll be talking much more about in this presentation is identifying key issues and pollution sources. The second one is early actions. Step 3, strategy development, where we're really working together to figure out what kind of emissions reduction strategies we can get into the SERP. And then step 4, strategy review and selection by the steering committee. And step 5, when we actually get to implement the strategies. And so included here is a highlight that steps 1 through 4 are really guided by steering committee members. And I'll talk more today about just how that we're envisioning that working. But what I want to highlight here, and you can progress to the next slide, please, is that with step 1, I mentioned we're looking to several different, I'm sorry, you can go back to the previous slide. Thank you. With step 1, we're really looking to gather information from several different sources in order to feel like we're getting a comprehensive understanding of what the community concerns are and what people are really interested in affecting change through AB 617. And so we've come up with this 3-pronged approach, and those are the 3 arrows that are on the left-hand side of the screen feeding into step 1. These are the facility focus list that I know has been shared here in the past, social pinpoint, which I'll talk a little bit more about today. It's a mapping tool. And then lastly, steering committee meetings here at these meetings, we'll talk a little bit more about. So in the next few slides, I'm really going to focus on this step in the strategies focused approach, because this is kind of where we are right now. We're like getting ready to start working on this. And I know in recent meetings, steering committee members have already started to identify some key issues and pollution sources. And so if you'd like, if you can progress to the next slide, I can highlight first a little bit about the facility focus list. So this is one of 3 sources of information where we're trying to gather community concerns, pollution concerns. And the facility focus list, this was developed based on CBE member input from CBE campaigns, research, and it's really not intended to be a comprehensive list of pollution sources by any means. It started off as an opportunity for us to kind of jumpstart research and kind of digging into like what the community concerns have been with some existing facilities that were already on the radar of CBE members. And we're hoping that the facility focus list will grow with input from the steering committee and from social pinpoint mapping tool. I think members have probably heard the terms problem statements and certainly for me, early actions. And so the way that we've been working with a facility focus list is that when we started gathering information about facilities in the area and hearing from members, either through meetings or direct communications or campaigns about their concerns with these facilities, we needed a way in order to really capture what those were. And so we started developing what we were calling problem statements. These are statements that help to really capture a concern about a particular facility. And then to address some of those concerns, we also started coming up with early actions. We were asking people, what would they like to see about facilities? There's something that we could do right now in order to address some of their concerns. And so these were what we were calling early actions. So I'll talk a little bit more about these in future slides. But in the next slide, I just wanted to share a reminder of an example of what the facility focus list has been so far. And so I know this has been shown to steering committee members already, but I wanted to recap it. ABNI Foundry, this obviously has closed, which is fantastic, but existing concerns now are related to the property redevelopment that is starting to get underway. There's a lot of contamination at the property and a lot of cleanup that has to happen. And so ABNI Foundry is still on the list here. Also Argent Materials, East Bay Crematory, Gallagher and Burke, Sterling Environmental, Oakland Airport, and RNA Trucking. So again, these are not intended to be a comprehensive list of polluting facilities in the area, but it was a starting point for us to really kind of get a jump start on looking into community concerns and pollution sources. And if you move to the next slide, I can highlight that I'll take kind of a break from this presentation and share that what we're hoping to get from steering committee members today is to do a Google form activity. I know we already did an activity with Jamboard, so we're just asking members to take a look at this after the meeting as you have time. But what we're asking is when you think about that facility list, which was on the previous slide and is also on the Google form link, we're wondering if there are specific concerns or issues that you have about any of those facilities that are listed there. And then a second question, we're asking that if you think back to meetings 8 and 9, where CSC members identified pollution sources, are there any specific aspects of those stationary facilities that you're concerned about? Like, are you smelling odors? Are you seeing smoke? Is there dust? So we're really interested in gathering a little bit more information about that. And then lastly, are there any other stationary facilities that you're concerned about? They're not on the facility focus list. They're not one that was identified in meetings 8 and 9. And Michaela, to your question, does this include smaller auto body shops, PR industries like those? Absolutely, yeah. We're very interested in just understanding like what you're experiencing on your day-to-day and you know what the facility is, what your concern might be about it. So we wanted to take a second to invite members to take a look at the form. It's 3 short questions. And next slide, please. And I think there Yeah, we have a link to the forum, and I know that Gabby also linked that in the chat. So we're just asking members if you could take a look at the form over, while it's fresh in your memory is great, but also by July 27th, which is 2 weeks from now, it'll help us get some feedback about the facility focus list so we can understand where to take that from here, and also hear about other facilities. There will certainly be more opportunity to talk about this in future meetings, but this was just a stepping point that we wanted to take. So I'm going to move on to the next slide here. And I know this is a lot of information, so I'm going to try to go slow in the time that we have. So we just finished talking about the facility focus list. That's one of 3 sources of information where we're trying to gather to build comprehensive understanding of where to take strategy development. The second source of input that we're looking to is called Social Pinpoint. So I'm only talking about it briefly here because more information will be shared in the August meeting. But Social Pinpoint it's essentially a community mapping tool. It's been used in other AB 617 communities. And what we're hoping to be able to do, it's a mapping tool that allows folks to log on to the website, identify a particular area, either if it's a facility of concern or an area of concern, or if it's a point of value, like a space of value. You can identify that by marking it on the map, and you can even add like a note about what it is that's particularly valuable or concerning. And so the reason we wanted to bring Social Pinpoint in is because it really expands opportunities for East Oakland community members to be involved in SERP development by adding their maps, by adding their comments. And we're hoping to use the map inputs to inform some of the early actions that I'll be talking about, and certainly to inform strategy development. But also we're thinking it would be helpful to help us understand if we, as we're developing together strategies, as we're developing those, if we're missing any like major gaps that community members are experiencing and then they feel need to be addressed. So Social Pinpoint, well, as I mentioned, we'll talk more about in coming meetings. It's one of the 3 sources of information that we're aiming to gather for strategy development. And then on the next slide, I believe we talk about the last of the 3 sources of information, which is the steering committee meetings. So through steering committee meetings, through discussion, through things like the Google form that I just shared about, through topical presentations, we're hoping to gather information about, what is a concern for community members? What are you feeling that we need to focus on? And particularly, what we're interested in having the steering committee do as we start to gather all of this information is help understand where we should prioritize our focus. So we're really hoping that the steering committee can help guide us through that. And because we, hopefully we will gather enough information so that we'll have so much we might not be able to address it all, we can hopefully at least identify maybe like 4 or 5 key areas of concern that we can start really focusing on for strategy development. Next slide, please. So I'll take a pause here. I just wanted to re-ground ourselves because I know that was a lot of information. And checking the time here. So we just focused on step 1. Oh, Charles, I see your hand is up. Did you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I wanted to find out from you right now if because I know the industry actions are generally longer term actions, and so I want to make sure that the work that we're doing as a CSC, as a committee, has to do with immediate actions that could immediately impact our quality of life. And for instance, the removal of dump sites and trash sites around populations and schools. And as short-term actions that we can focus on. So is that how this is going to play out? Short-term, mid-term, long-term?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think it makes me think about, maybe I can maybe define a little bit more on timeline, like early action, short-term action versus long-term strategy. So, you know, our idea about early actions, this is kind of unique to East Oakland's strategy development process. This is something where, you know, maybe it's like, and I actually talk about this in the coming slides. So actually, if you can advance to the next slide, I think what I was about to say is addressed. Yeah, so with an early action, the idea is that this is something, you know, this is an action that could be taken right away. It might be like a facility inspection, or could be like removing illegally dumped waste from nearby a school. But I think something important to highlight with the early actions is that this isn't, generally speaking, it's not something that like agencies have to be committed to the way that like a longer term strategy is. Like that's the power of the SERP. And so we're really hoping to, you know, we've been working with the Air District, and we're hoping to work with other agencies in order to say like, all right, here's some of the early actions we hope you can address now. Like maybe we just need extra support in this area, or, you know, members have really highlighted this like park that really needs like cleaning or whatever it is. That would be kind of an early action, a way to really address a concern that could be addressed right away, but it's going to take a lot of collaboration, and CB is right there in order to do that. Longer term strategies, certainly, you know, that's the power of the SERP. And so that's also something that we're 100% wanting to work with. That's the why we're here. And so we're hoping that through this process, we can try to do both of these things. And I know we're short on time here. So as we talk through these early actions, I'm gonna just highlight one thing, is that through this process, we're really aiming to have the steering committee work with us as a co-leads to determine how, you know, how we really want to hear from you guiding, like, how do we prioritize these concerns in order to make sure that we're really focused on even the short-term early actions, but also definitely the longer term strategies that members are really interested in. And then next slide, please. All right, and so I've shared this in upcoming meetings. We're going to be asking for input from members on early actions that came from the facility focus list. We're still developing those and still building the facility list as I've shared. And then certainly asking to hear your own concerns about pollution, as we're starting to do already. Next slide. Thank you. So I'm just going to wrap up here with talking about step 3, strategy development, before we end my portion of this section and move into some more Q&A. And in the next slide with strategy development, these are when we talk about strategy development here, I'm really talking about those longer term strategies that have to go through the SERP process. So they can be really powerful in that way, but they also, you know, they will take some time to develop. And so we're really envisioning that the steering committee will be deeply involved with prioritizing which pollution sources to focus on, or which, you know, areas to focus on. And certainly that the steering committee will be involved in drafting those strategies. We definitely can develop new strategies as they need to be developed based on any unique community concerns coming out of East Oakland, but also don't need to reinvent the wheel if there are existing AB 61 strategies from other communities that might work for East Oakland. Or, you know, they're coming from other community planning documents like the Oakland General Plan or IONI plans. These are places where if we're seeing strategies that might be effective for East Oakland, we can adapt them and make them work for Oakland. But ultimately, as I shared before, the goal is to develop strong, actionable strategies with measurable targets. And so that's really what we're aiming for with this, is to have strategies that have clear language, that are really including measurable targets, so that when they do go to the Air District or whatever agency is meant to implement them, the agency knows what to do with them, and that there's a way for them to also be accountable to affecting the change that we want to see. So I think that might be the last. Can we check in on the next slide, please? Okay, so I'm just going to leave this graphic up for folks as we move into Q&A. And before I wrap up and see that there's some hands up, I just wanted to give one last brief recap that here with the strategies focused approach, what we're aiming to do is take this three-pronged approach of gathering information from many community sources in order to identify the key issues affecting East Oakland, and then work with the steering committee to help us prioritize where we should really focus strategy development to include in the SERP. So I'm going to take a break here because I know that was a lot of information, and check in with our facilitators on how much time we have for Q&A, because I do see Cynthia and Charles, your hands are up.
I always digress to the steering committee members first.
Cynthia, did you want to go ahead?
Yeah, thank you so much for your presentation. Something that came up for me as you were talking is, I know that we have used past meetings for us as committee members to identify these various pollution sources. And I know that we have, and there's so much like expertise and wisdom in this group. I will also add that, like, if somebody were to tell me to identify, like to walk outside of my home and identify the quote unquote pollution sources, I wouldn't be able to do that. Like, and so that's where I don't know if this is like the air district. I don't quite know who here, if I gave you my address, if I tell you my district, like you could tell me that, because that is not what I get paid for. That's not my expertise. And like, I can tell you, I can't breathe here. I can tell you my child coughs here, but like, there has to be, I feel like there's still a disconnect between you all are asking more than what like the data, like that we should know. And that's the part that I find a little problematic.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up, Cynthia, because I think that's 100%. You're right. It was really kind of homing in on the fact that we're going to community for a lot of this, and something that I do think that I breezed over quickly in the presentation is that within the steering committee meetings, we're definitely planning to have Air District coming in, Alameda County coming in, sharing information about pollution sources, pollution information, health issues, things like that, because that is certainly like a source of important data that we wouldn't, I don't think that we would expect community members to just happen to know. I mean, I don't happen to know it either. And so the Air District and the county definitely have a responsibility there, among others, I think, to bring that kind of information here to this place and help inform, what the concerns are and what the major health concerns are, what the major pollution sources are, for sure. I do think that we probably only have time for one more question at the moment, but I also want to welcome folks to reach out to me directly. I can drop my email in the chat if other questions or feedback comes up, because certainly, Cynthia, what you shared is very important and helpful, and I'd be interested to hear from others as well.
I am so glad to hear you say that, Cynthia, because I have been in the background. Me and Ayana both have been in the background trying to get agency to understand that, and please, no one take this as an offense. Man, we need some environmental justice for dummies, because we need it broken down for us in language that's easier for us to understand. Ambient air is outside air. Please use those. I mean, we didn't go to school for that. So, just like you said, you might be able to identify some trash or something like that. But you, other than that, you don't know where those other fumes are coming from, and you don't know what the impact is on your family. And the other thing the thing is, there's a culture that has to be brought together, and that means the PhDs and the ones who don't have them, so we can come condense that language. And the other thing that I saw missing in the strategy is that there was no funding strategy to help us get this stuff done, because we on a budget, and we're going to need outside funding to help us to get some of these things done. And I think that's something that should also be in the strategy. How are we going to pursue grants to help support this SERP, do the work that the community members say they need done, and we not able to get it done? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Charles, and thank you also for the comments in the chat. This is all very helpful. And again, I'll drop my my email in the chat right now so that folks can have access to me with any other questions or feedback. And I'll definitely be incorporating what I'm hearing tonight into this process, and might be checking in at future meetings to see what what else we can bring to the table. So I'm going to check in with our facilitators to see if we have time to take any more questions or need to take those by email at this point.
I think we might need to do that over email. Kim, if you could maybe drop your email, and then I'm gonna go ahead and move us to a very short break. I know we need it, so can we maybe keep it to 2 minutes? I will at 7:32 we'll come back. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Shows on your face, and no matter how you try to hide it, states your case. Now I'm proud to bring your spirits down to the ground, and never let you see the good things all around. Every time I sing a let, I feel this flow. I love run out and the wind won't blow, but that can't make me sad, just can't make me. Whoa, 'cause I've been there before, don't wanna go no more. That can take me, won't let it drive me mad. Sadness, there's no remedy for the problems in your life. While you run your race.
Okay, sorry everybody. I know that wasn't as much as we need, but we'll have to just, we have a lot to get through today. So can we go ahead as people start coming back, turn over to the SERP boundary?
Thanks, Gabby, for keeping us going here. And thanks everyone for, being here. So I am also going to present an update on the SERP community boundary, and we will be taking a vote on the proposed SERP community boundary as well. Next slide. And just so as a reminder, the SERP community boundary, it is required for the SERP. It describes the area where important information about the community, such as the people who live, learn, and work there, their lived experiences and perspectives, where land use information is collected, and also important because future steering committee members will be selected from the area. Also, as a recap, we have had you involved in the discussion around the community boundary, where we had the steering committee provide feedback on the SERP community boundary during the steering committee meetings number 8 and number 9 in May and June. So you also shared feedback through email communication, and these inputs and thoughts were very valuable in determining the boundaries that best represent the community. Next slide. So here's the feedback we heard from the steering committee on the SERP community boundary. The steering committee identified these community assets and areas that were outside the SERP community boundary, initially highlighted in green. And these include Rancho San Antonio and San Antonio Park Field and that area. We have Gwen Jackson Park, Highland Hospital, the northern area along the I-580 and Coolidge Avenue, Diamond Park, and Mills College. The steering committee did not identify any areas to be removed from the SERP community boundary. Next slide. We made revisions to the SERP community boundary to align with the feedback we heard from community. So initially we had the SERP community boundary, which is marked in green. We made updates to incorporate the community assets and areas identified by the steering committee, and then align them to census tracts. And why that's important is census tracts are the unit in which we collect a lot of that demographic and health data that we were previously discussed in the community profile. It's noted that Diamond Park and Siempre Verde Park, they are recognized as community assets by the steering committee, and they will remain as community assets, but they are not within the SERP community boundary. Diamond Park was not included because the area has a lower environmental burden according to CalEnviroscreen, as well as Healthy Places Index. And Siempre Verde Park is not within the boundary as it's located in San Leandro, and thus due to jurisdiction limitations is not included in the community boundary. Additionally, we made adjustments to align the boundary with adjacent census tracts to ensure there were no gaps along the I-580 corridor. So these revisions were made to ensure that the boundary accurately represents the community and include all relevant areas for our assessment and planning. So you'll see the updates are shown in purple on this revised map. Next slide. And just wanted to show you a closer look at these revisions. So these are highlighted in purple to make up the SERP community boundary. Just have a moment for you to take a look. And then next slide here. And in relation to each other, we have the SERP community boundary within the SERP emissions inventory boundary. And it's important to note that all the community assets and areas that were identified by the steering committee will be evaluated in the emissions inventory. And that again is the rectangular grid boundary that's highlighted in blue. Next slide. And so wanted to pause here for any questions or comments on the proposed final SERP community boundary. So that's the image that we have to the right here, which is the boundary would include those highlighted in green, as well as the added areas highlighted in purple. And pausing here for questions, I do see Charles's hand up, and then also taking a look at some questions in the chat here. So I can pass it to Charles first.
Yes, I would just like people to realize that the Diamond District is not a part of this because their air is so much cleaner they didn't qualify. Is that right? Is that what it is, Alicia?
Yeah, so Diamond Park is within an area north of the I-580. If we want to go back to maybe the closer look image, just so folks have reference. The closer look, yeah, thank you. So, or maybe just one more back. Yeah, so just above here, the northern blue marker here for Diamond Park, that area does have a lower environmental burden per like CalEnviro screen, as well as is considered a healthier neighborhood within Healthy Places Index. And then when compared to also, you know, the city of Oakland's planning efforts, it is not considered a priority neighborhood or an environmental justice neighborhood as well.
But I just
And-
want to pinpoint the fact that it's not. And we could take pictures of parks in East Oakland, and we could take pictures of Diamond Park, and it'll show us why it's different. And so I'm hoping that we can use fact-based evidence like that to be able to put into our strategy so our areas will receive improvement and not just continuously being looked over. Because I know them kids love going to the park, but I know his kids on the flatland, they got to walk in the middle of the street in order to get to their park. And if we talking about equity, then equity should be defined like that. Our parks should look like theirs, and we should be able to breathe the same air they breathing. So I just wanted to make that comment.
Great, thank you, Charles. And so we will keep Diamond Park, just to be clear, where that will maintain as a community asset. I did see Michaela's question in the chat in terms of what are the blue pins again. Krista, if you don't mind pulling that up again, just for reference here for the map. So the blue pins are steering committee identified community assets and assets in the community activities that we had during the steering committee number 8 and number 9. And so, thank you. So if there's no other questions, wanted to see if folks are ready to go to the next slide.
Sí, yo tengo una pregunta.
Okay. Yes, I heard Marina, so let's
I have a
pass it to
question.
Marina.
Sí.
Sí, mi pregunta es
Yes, my question is this. We all know, and it's also a comment, we all know that on 580, trucks don't go like us, that we're contaminated. I live like 2 houses away from the freeway. So I think that we should try to focus on our part here on East Oakland, because that's the area that's polluted the most. And instead of a part that extended to 580, I see there's not as much pollution there. Starting for the trash, over there, the rich people live, and over here is the poor people, the people who are the most contaminated. I was looking at the maps in purple because that's like the continuation, right?
No sé si mi comunidad de la
I don't know if my community is included in there, because we are the ones who are the most polluted here. So we have to focus on these parts that really need it, that have higher needs, greater needs.
Thank you, Marina, for your question. Yeah, so those areas highlighted in purple, they are areas that include those community assets and areas that the steering committee did identify, as well as areas that fill in the gaps along the I-580, which is a concern that we've heard about from steering committee members as well as the community. And so those purple added areas would help to inform and I would say accurately identify the SERP community boundary. So I hope that answers your question. Any other questions or comments? Okay, if I can we go back to the presentation? And yeah, we'll go to a roll call vote, and I will pass it to I think Gabby and to help with the roll call vote. Yeah.
Great. So now we will vote on the approval of the final SERP community boundary. So Massam will share a screen of the sheet and we will read out the names and say yes, no, abstain, or if you're absent, we'll record that too. So this is again on the community boundary. Ayana?
Yes.
Thank you. Andrea?
Yes.
Okay, Andrea's absent. Carol? Carol, are you trying to unmute? Okay, maybe we'll come back to you. Charles?
Yes.
Okay, Cynthia?
Yes.
Danny?
Yes.
Okay, Gabrielle?
Yes.
Okay, Jamaica, I believe is not here. Okay, how about Jamie?
Yes.
Okay, Jasmine?
Yes.
Okay, Marina?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, America?
Do you mean Marika?
Marika, yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Thank you. Miss Cecilia?
Yes.
Okay, Michaela?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Great, Shamar?
I'm gonna abstain from this one.
Okay, thank you. Susan?
Yes.
Okay, and Sochil, I believe it's not here. Erica?
Yes.
Okay, and Carol, are we still, can we get your vote if you're available? Okay, well, Carol, maybe if you still want to vote, please feel free to drop it in the chat. But looks like with 15 yeses, we have approved our community boundary. Congrats, everybody.
Yay! Now,
Thank you.
now that Charles, you want to go ahead and take it over?
You know, we can always do it together. You know how we do that. And so we are about to do our East Oakland environmental justice announcements and updates, but I do want to congratulate us on successfully completing 2 new votes, getting a new chair, a new co-chair, and getting our community boundaries set. And so our first, so are there any CSC members who would like to make an announcement about an event or anything that they're a part of that is upcoming during this East Oakland Environmental Justice announcements and updates? Because this is really your time. steering committee members.
Yes, this is Miss Cecilia. I just wanted to make an announcement that the United Seniors of Oakland Alameda County will be having Healthy Living Festival on September the 28th at the zoo. From
At our zoo?
Yes,
The
every
Oakland
year.
Zoo?
Every year.
Every year. And what date was that again, Miss Cecilia?
September the 28th.
September the 28th. So all of us got grandparents. We got to bring them down there, you guys.
All right. Do we know what time, Cecilia?
Wait, I can't hear you.
The time, the
Oh,
hours?
the time. The hours will be from 9. I think it's 9 to 3. I believe. I'll come back with that. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, don't worry about it. You got it out there now, Miss Cecilia. We really appreciate you sharing that good news to us, because we need to celebrate the OGs, which I mean older generations, y'all. And so, Shamar?
I'm stealing that from you, Charles. OG's older generation.
You have
I just wanted to, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to let folks know that tomorrow in East Oakland, and I know it's short notice and it's midday, it's gonna be from noon till 2 o'clock. But if folks are available and interested, there was a big grant that came to East Oakland a couple of years ago, specifically around improving environmental quality and supporting specific projects and programs that are meant to just support the community. These are things like housing, tree planting, farming, bicycle shares, job and housing protections. And we're just going to be doing a deep dive into all those programs, looking at the budget, what were the plans, and what's actually been accomplished thus far. That's going to be tomorrow at the Better Neighborhood, Save Neighbors Resource Center, which is off of 95th and East 14th. At one of the public housing on the ground floor, a resource center there. So folks are interested, it's going to be a deep dive into what those programs are actually supposed to accomplish. And yeah, it would be really cool to see folks there. And I think it would also maybe inform some of what we're talking about as far as strategies and tangible things that can improve air and environmental quality more generally in East Oakland. So I'm not sure if I can maybe send it out to the roster, or however it is hybrid. There will be both an opportunity for folks to attend remotely via Zoom. So if that's something that's interesting to folks, I don't know if you want to reach out to me or if I can share it out to everybody, but yeah, there's no link. It's just like, it's been organized over email and there's a Google invite. It's not like a big public event, but I can't imagine it wouldn't be something that's open to the public. Public funding. So yeah, hope folks can make it out and check that out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shamar. And that's why we have these EJ announcements, because we want community members to be able to share the good things that's happening in their life or the things that can help support our work in doing this. And so I do believe we have 2 more announcements to make. I think I'm going to pass it off to Lujane, and you can guide that, Lujane.
Thanks, Charles. Yeah, I just want to make sure before I share on behalf of CBE, we have Julia Luanco from CARB, and then next Peter Nguyen from UC Davis, and Scott Connolly as well. So if you'd like to go ahead, Julia.
Great, thank you. Can y'all hear me okay? Okay, great. Hi, everyone. My name is Julia. And my announcement today, so CARB, we are updating the AB 617 blueprint. And the blueprint is the document that really lays out the strategy for how to implement this program, particularly for the next 5 years. And so it has guidance and requirements for how to work in this program. And by law, we're required to update it every 5 years. So we've hit that 5-year mark and we're doing our first revision right now. We're in that process. And so what that means for all of you is that this document is what really lays out what your SERP process, how it will go, like how will your SERP be tracked and how will it be reported on every year. So those are some of the implications for you all. So I wanted to let you know that we have a draft version of this updated blueprint that's posted for public comment right now, and the public comment period is open until the end of the month. We've been doing some workshops, and we have one more workshop left in our series, and that's next week on July 18th from 4 to 7, if you all would like to participate. This workshop is going to be led in Spanish, but it will have English interpretation available. And then once that comment period closes, we will take in everything we've heard. We'll be putting out another version of the blueprint, which will go to our board for consideration at the end of September. And I can put some links in the chat right now about where to find that blueprint, that draft blueprint, and also links on information for that workshop that we have left. So for the 18th next week from 4 to 7. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
That's it for me.
Could I ask Julia a question right quick, please? Julia, is this the opportunity for us, like our steering committee member Cynthia spoke on earlier, about changing the way that the language is disseminated to us? Is this where we say that this is where we need these kinds of things done? And to fit into the timeline, the education process that we obviously didn't get?
I'll say yes, and so this document applies to everybody across the state and all air districts implementing this program. So like, yes, we can put, this is the opportunity to put guidelines on everybody, but then there's also the extra piece where, you know, working closely with the district and CARB in your process can look different from the process in LA or the process in Imperial. So there's kind of multiple opportunities to do that. But yeah, this is like that statewide lens. And if you all, you know, have thoughts on what this program should look like, how these processes should go based on your experience, this would be the opportunity to put that like in writing in a document that says this, you know, this is how this program should be run.
Y'all heard that. That's like meet and greets before getting it down to work, y'all. Let's let people know what can make this a better process for us all.
Thank you. And we'll go ahead and pass it off to Peter, then Scott, and then Colleen.
Cool. Thank you so much to the steering committee leads. Hey, everyone. My name is Peter Nguyen. I'm a grad student at UC Davis. And I made a previous announcement before on our statewide survey that we're doing as part of our AB 617 implementation study with Professor Jonathan London. We did receive a few responses from the East Oakland Steering Committee, so we appreciate all the feedback, and we just want to encourage, since we extended the deadline to July 21st, for those who haven't already completed to, fill that out. There's 11 questions, takes about 10 to 15 minutes. There's a raffle for resident members to complete to get a gift card. But yeah, we really appreciate your feedback because we really want to understand the successes, challenges, and areas for improvement. This really feeds into ways that CARB and the air districts and the steering committees can improve their processes to really address implementation, and especially for the SERP measures to be carried out throughout the timeline of the SERP. And so, yeah, we really encourage folks to complete it. We take every opinion and perspective into consideration. So really appreciate it. And I'll put the links in also. Oh, thank you, Lujan, for putting that. I'll also put our contact info if folks have any questions. But yeah, thank you so much, and really appreciate any feedback that you can give.
Hey, Peter, how long you say it take? How many questions to win the gift card? How much?
Yeah, it's about 11 questions, and it should take 10 to 15 minutes to complete.
So anybody need a gift card, 10 to 15 minutes, get a free gift card. And you help them learn something about the work that we doing.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. And take it away, Lujan.
Thanks, Charles. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pass it up to Scott.
Hey everyone, this is Scott Connolly. I am an environmental engineer with US EPA here, Region 9. I wanted to pop in the meeting today to provide a notification and an invitation for members of the community to attend a public meeting that EPA will be holding on August 24th in regards to potential upcoming settlement with ABNI Foundry. EPA is looking to resolve an enforcement action through a notice violation that we issued to the facility, I guess a couple of years ago now. We're seeking community input on the settlement, as well as community input on a potential supplemental environmental projects. We're looking to see things that folks might be interested in seeing in their community, things that would benefit the air quality in the community and make direct impact on people's lives in those communities as a result of potential settlement. We'll be passing out a link to that meeting. It'll be held on Zoom, likely from 6 to 8, and I'll make sure to send that email out so this group gets it and passing it along to others that might be interested. We want to make sure that all community members will have an opportunity to present it. It will have a relatively narrow focus on that meeting as well, but we want to make sure that the community gets input. That's all for me.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you so much for being here. And then I'll pass it off to Colleen and appreciate everyone's time.
Thank you, LaJane, and thank you, everyone. I'll try to make this quick. I appreciate everyone staying till the hour. So I wanted to provide you a quick update on 2 items. The first is an update, an initiative that I want to share that the Oakland Airport is pursuing. The Airport Council International manages a voluntary emissions reduction program called the Airport Carbon Accreditation Program. So airports around the world apply to be part of this program, and they must commit then to reducing its carbon footprint from airport operations. There's 6 levels with specific requirements, and I won't go into each one, but last year the Oakland Airport joined this program and at level 1, which required us to conduct a baseline inventory of our own emissions. We are now pursuing level 2 this year, which requires us to set goals on reducing emissions from our own operations. So we are proposing a goal of 50% carbon reduction by 2030 and then 0 emissions from our own operations by 2040. This is just an initiative. We'll continue our pathway to 0 emissions, which is a goal of the port, both on the seaport side as well as the airport side. These efforts are also in alignment with the city's Equitable Climate Action Plan that has goals for the port to reduce our emissions. And as we pursue this goal, we'll continue to develop and update the group as we move forward. So that was the first update. The second one is in previous meetings, and it was brought up today in the presentation, we brought up about the Oakland Airport's Terminal Modernization and Development Project. So I wanted to provide an update on where we are in the environmental process. We anticipate releasing the draft environmental impact report next week for public comment. We'll be posting the information about this on our website at www.oaklandairport.com/terminal development. I'll put it in the chat, as well as I can email this information to this co-chairs and then to distribute that information to the committee members. If you would like to sign up to receive notices, I encourage you to sign up on that website. Also, there will be 2 public meetings that we will be conducting. We're finalizing the details and the dates, but that will be all posted on the website. And that was the 2 updates.
Thank you, Colleen.
So
Thank
much,
you.
Colleen. Hey, you guys, we only 3 minutes over. We had a great meeting. A great meeting, I believe.
Definitely, and we got 2 measures passed, and I'm really glad. And we're looking forward to doing all the fun work now. It's coming up soon, you guys. So just stay patient and stay diligent. One more update. If you guys are looking for some fun in the sun tomorrow, please come 98th and Sunnyside. We have everything for the kids as well as the basketball tournament. 5-on-5. The winner takes $3K. So come and enjoy your day tomorrow. See you on 98th and Sunnyside.
My bad, Ayana, I forgot to mention that also. And everybody, could you please make sure that you fill out your meeting surveys to let them know how the meeting went and what we can do to be better and more efficient. But we won't never know if you guys don't tell us. So please fill out that meeting survey. And I appreciate all of y'all. We appreciate all of you guys for being here. Great meeting tonight.